Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here, and it's time for another one of those Battlefield 1 weapon guides. Today I'm going to be covering the BAR M1918, which is an automatic support gun that you might already be familiar with if you ever played Battlefield 1942. The BAR M1918, or the Model 1918 Browning automatic rifle, should I say, was the first variant of a series of BAR weapons designed by John Browning in 1917. With fully automatic weapons becoming a thing, and because they proved to be so powerful and effective at dispatching several enemies quickly within the trenches, it was agreed that the US troops needed more access to rapid firing portable weaponry, and so John Browning created the M1918 to help fill this void. The BAR was first issued to American troops in September 1918, which was pretty close to the end of the First World War, and it was designed to be carried by infantry during assaults, and for advancing on enemy positions, which led to the term walk-in fire, the military tactic to suppress the enemy, pinning them down whilst marching forwards. And this strategy allowed advancing squads of riflemen to reach enemy trenches and clear them out more easily. Although the M1918 was a powerful weapon, it lacked a few key things to be considered as a true light machine gun. It was limited to using a 20-round box magazine, meaning that the user of the gun was constantly under pressure to reload it, and the rifle was also pretty inaccurate too when fired on its fully automatic setting. Despite being a classic weapon in the history of American firearms, the BAR M1918 wasn't actually used very much in the Great War, with it only really seeing some action in France less than 3 months away from the war's end. Though this delay was supposedly said to be intentional, to not let the weapon fall into enemy hands too early. The successful design of the Browning rifle led to it being the standard issue LMG for American infantry in World War II, and was also used in both the Korean and Vietnam Wars before it started to phase out in the late 1950s, when newer, more advanced LMGs were introduced to the world. The Browning rifle in Battlefield 1 is a weapon which you'll find under the support category, and 3 unique versions of the gun can be purchased and used to get those kills, including the Trench, Storm and Telescopic variants. As far as the in-game stats go, the BAR M1918 has a maximum damage of 23 up to 11 meters, which then drops down over distance to 19 beyond 35 meters. So it's going to deal the same close range damage as the other support guns, and with that minimum damage value of 19, which matches up with the M1909, this means that it's also going to deal slightly more damage at longer ranges than a lot of the others too, making it, overall, a pretty powerful gun. This extra damage at range means that it'll kill in 1 less bullet than both the Lewis gun and the Hewitt automatic at those longer distances, and so it should take about 5 or 6 rounds to put another player down with full health. Something that coincides really nicely with this stopping power is the BAR's rate of fire, which clocks in at 600 RPM, making it the fastest firing base game weapon for the support class. Strong damage plus a high fire rate equals an effective killing machine, and the BAR has no problem shredding through enemies in one-on-one gunfights at those close to medium ranges. But although its long range damage is on the higher side of the spectrum, and its muzzle velocity is also pretty speedy too, this might suggest that the BAR will work wonders against other players in the distance. Though its recoil pattern suggests otherwise, with an upwards kick of 0.4 and a horizontal kick of 0.26. This isn't exactly a really crappy pattern, especially considering the gun can spew its bullets out at rapid rates, though it's definitely on the higher side and it might be a bit of a tough one to handle for some players. The vertical value is going to make the gun kick upwards more than a lot of the other LMGs, and its horizontal value might put some shots off target too, making the gun slightly less accurate in the process. Although recoil might seem manageable in most cases, there's something about the M1918 that is really going to get in the way of it ever being a truly overpowering weapon, and this factor lies in its ability to hold ammunition. 20 rounds is all you get, per reload that is, and for a support gun that fires as fast as it does, this isn't exactly very much to work with. Although you might be able to swiftly take on a couple of enemies one after the other, you'll be forced to reload sooner, rendering you as a vulnerable target in the thick of the action. Being surrounded up in the front lines can often get you killed because of this, though if you're a player who tends to reload anyway after every kill or two, then this probably won't seem like such a big issue. Anyway, time to check out the variants, with the first being the Trench. This plays out just like any other Trench variant in the game, giving you a buff to the gun's hip fire. It's going to have 33% less base spread whilst firing from the hip than the other versions, and that's basically it. Though because of the fast firing nature of the M1918, this might be a nice bonus at closer ranges, to bypass the time it takes aiming down sights and to use hip fire instead to get those kills a bit quicker. As for the Storm variant, this will directly affect the gun's recoil pattern, lowering it by 30%. The vertical kick will be 0.28 instead of 0.4, which is actually the same value as the Hewitt and Bernaymer's C, and its horizontal value will be lowered to 0.18, almost the same as the Lewis gun. With the recoil being one of the main downsides to using the BAR, this accuracy and stability buff is going to help you out quite a lot, and should generally make it a bit more reliable to use in those gunfights. But lastly, we've got ourselves the Telescopic variant, which has a bipod and a telescopic sight, making it better suited for longer range battles and for holding down objective points. This combination is designed for those who prefer to play more defensively, gunning down enemies in the distance, as the bipod is going to allow for a huge increase in accuracy and stability whilst it's being used, and the scope will make it easier to acquire targets far away and line up those shots. Because the M1918 has a quick muzzle velocity and a fairly high damage at range, this means that it can perform surprisingly well with these added attachments, though the small magazines are still something that could be problematic, especially when taking on a group of snipers or medics in the distance. So in conclusion, the BAR M1918 is a weapon for those who like to challenge their opponents in head-to-head battles. It's a very effective killing machine with the capability to dominate other players with its strong damage and rapid automatic fire. Its main weaknesses lie not with its ability to kill, but with its capacity to hold ammo, as you're going to be burning through those bullets every time you squeeze the trigger, and you'll be forced to reload a lot more than you would with other LMGs. Recoil is also something that the BAR doesn't really handle with brilliantly either, as it's pretty high and might force a few of your shots off target, especially if your opponent is further away. Though rest assured, as long as you have bullets in your magazine, you're going to be a serious force to contend with at closer to medium ranges. So that's another Battlefield 1 weapon guide, hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like if you did, subscribe to see loads more, and of course, thanks for watching. Take it easy guys, I'll see you in the next video.